Hello, my name is Dante Renee, and welcome to the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more. Like tonight's film, 1983's Las Vegas Girls. This is part of the Peakorama big 2-unit show from Vinegar Syndrome with My Sinful Life, which I've already reviewed on this YouTube page, both by Carlos Tobalina, and both from 1983. This is an 81-minute film taken, restored in 2K from the 35 millimeter camera negative from Vinegar Syndrome. I bought this for about $15, $17, something like that. We're looking at Las Vegas Girls right now. And let's get into this movie right here, folks. First and foremost, I want to tell you that this is a film that's really a snapshot of a couple different locations. We go to from Dallas to Vegas, then to Mexico. And it's a film where we have a couple, an older couple, a wealthy older couple, mostly wealth from her husband, and they have lost their daughter, their teenage or minor daughter. They don't know where she is, so they hire these two private detectives, a guy and a girl, and they pay them a sum of money to go to Vegas to see. They got word that she might be there, and that's where the story takes us. And there's some twists and turns along the way between the two private detectives, how the two private detectives try to find her, and also where the daughter actually is. So let's get into Las Vegas Girls, 1983 by Carlos Tobalina, a very prolific X-rated director. He also did some softcore as well, and I'll be looking at more of his films on this YouTube page. So let's get into Carlos's Las Vegas Girls. First, I want to talk about the music. The music, there's wall-to-wall music in this film, as Carlos's X-rated films tend to be wall-to-wall sex. There's a great soundtrack to go with it. We do have, I believe, two pieces of music with vocals that really give you a very strong kind of 70s slow, sultry, jazzy disco, if you understand what I'm saying. You could almost have heard it in a 70s drama TV show kind of deal, but it really it kind of encapsulates the wildness and sexuality and possible darkness of Las Vegas. We're also getting lots of just freewheeling, fervent, just Vegas sounding disco party dance grooves, even with a talking drum in one of the songs, which I love that instrument. I remember hearing that instrument in some Beastie Boys songs back in the day, but that kind of sound for the talking drum. So there's just this freewheeling, groovy dance music that I would say the music really sounds 70s to me, even though this is a film from 1983. It really sounds 70s. Whereas you look at My Sinful Life, which was also done the same year, the music has more of an 80s bent to it. Very interesting. We also have some guitar work in the music and some very mysterious, sultry, almost dark piano pieces in the score. These kind of long, almost hypnotic piano sequences with female vocals on top of it a bit. Very interesting, very unique, and mysterious and dark. We also have some Latin flavored music in here as well, mixing into the groove, into the dance music. And there's a very strong emphasis also on jazz music in this score as well. Lots of diversity in the music, wall-to-wall music. We got saxophones, guitars, I believe mostly the acoustic variety, and also piano. Very heavy on the piano in the score. Great, great score. When we look at what Carlos is doing here style-wise, location-wise, we're getting a great snapshot of Vegas in this film. Look at the marquees, see who was there. Look at the marquee in Dallas and see what movies were playing at the theater there. And he even does a couple, just some great lush locations. I believe they were actually in Mexico. Just beautiful flowers, beautiful locations. the most amazing top of the line hotel rooms in Vegas. Just awesome to look at because I'll never be there. I'll never be able to afford a place like that. So just really, really great locations. Also, we're getting some other types of hotel rooms, the city streets, casinos, the flashing lights of Vegas from the early 80s here. Very interesting to see it in the early 80s. Um, and we're getting lots of Carlos's trademark here of where he likes to take a snapshot of the outside of a location that we are going to go into or that we're in already, and he'll keep flipping back to that to show you where the characters are. That is something that he does. We also have something that I've seen him do in a few of his other films, is that in the opening credits of the film, we get kind of a greatest hits of all the sex scenes in the movie right in the opening credit sequence. I've seen that before in some of his other films, and that's also a very interesting type of trademark there that he has. I also see some fast motion in this particular film. Also, things are sped up a bit. I also see some mirror work in this movie, a bit of some mirrors, some reflections. There is also a real freedom to the way he films, to his sets, if they are there, the boom mics, seeing some of the crew. Carlos is kind of open to not having things be perfect in the cinematic way, it seems. We also have a bit of psychedelic stuff going on in here as well, that I saw in his film Oriental Hawaii, where he's kind of swirling the imagery and doubling it and duplicating it and tripling it. Also, in the sound design, we have a bit of reverb in a psychedelic sense, and the film actually ends, if you listen very closely, on reverb, which is very just unique to end the movie that way. There's also narration from only one of the characters in the movie. There's some narration from just one of the characters, which is interesting. Why that character? So it kind of puts an emphasis on someone that you weren't necessarily thinking the emphasis was on, and it's great because it's a great character. Now, the two private detectives in this film are, there is a level of hilarity in what they're doing and or how they're doing it. In particular, the male. You know, they're doing such interesting things to try to find this girl, and they're getting the top of the line hotel rooms in Vegas, and they're throwing these parties, these sex parties, to try to find this couple's daughter. Then the detectives split up. The girls kind of go in the bars, but the camera really follows the guy as he's hosting or he's attending sex parties and taking part in them. He's going to whorehouses, and and it's just hilarious as he's asking for more money, but he's from the family to keep looking for her. And also there's, he's gambling, the girl's gambling, the two private detectives are gambling. So it becomes a very almost hilarious, like they're a bit corrupt in the way that they do their thing, but it's a blast watching the adventure that the two private detectives take. I thought the guy, the male private detective, was just great. There was something about him. He just had a really good presence about him, a good look. He was just. Oh, there's something about him that was enthralling in his character. It wasn't like he was seedy, and I think that's what was great about him. He didn't really come off as just total sleaze. He came off as pretty legit and professional, but some lighthearted sleaze in the mix in there as well. The female private detective I thought was very attractive, very natural looking, and you kind of have a tease with her throughout the film as to, will you see her naked? Will you see her have sex? A lot like, the teen sex comedy Screwballs with with one of the girls. Will you ever see her, topless? At the end of the movie, you do. This film obviously has, kind of detective meets, Vegas, exploitation, a bit of crime, a bit of mystery. Obviously, sex film, you know, and we also have romance. We also have a love story in here as well, which is something unexpected, most definitely. And in Carlos's conclusions of his films, he will end on a lighthearted worldview of maybe some topics sometimes that the average population would not find light or might find shocking and disturbing. In this particular case, it's a twist that you don't see coming in a much more normal way, I would say. Ending on a high note and ending on a loving note. Now, Carlos, the way that he shows the daughter and where the daughter ended up that the detectives are looking for is very creative in that it's not done in words when you see her and the person that's with her. It's done only in sex. And it's a case where it's not like you're assuming that that's the daughter, but you know it's her, from the transition, from the editing, and just from the sex and this new character. This is a girl. The girl that plays the daughter is a girl that was in Three Ripening Cherries, which I've also reviewed on this YouTube page. And the sex scenes in here, I have to say, there are some very acrobatic sections in these sex scenes. Some very physically agile, insane maneuvers amidst the orgies. We also have a character that predominantly masturbates. We also have one-on-ones, a lot of emphasis on one-on-ones, but we also have some racial diversity in the sex scenes. We have age diversity, without a doubt, and even the mother, looking for her daughter, is while she's not naked, and she is older, but her breasts are just hanging out, and very, seemingly voluptuous type of woman here. The daughter, who's from Three Ripening Cherries, I love. She's awesome. She's one of my favorites. And then we just have some pretty acrobatic sections in this film, and some hilarity involving the private detectives amidst all of that and their interactions with each other. Come and see the wild Las Vegas rooms that you'll probably never be able to afford. Awesome, awesome stuff. This is Las Vegas Girls, 1983, Carlos Tobalina. Thank you so much for watching the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page, where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more, like 1983's Las Vegas Girls. Thank you so much, and please feel free to check out all of my other reviews in this YouTube page of adult cinema, sexploitation, exploitation, horror, underground, weird, bizarre, Joe Sarno, Jess Franco, my favorite director, with Valerian Borocek and Carlos Tobalina, tons of Vinegar Syndrome stuff. This is all stuff I buy. It's insane. It's all on here. And please feel free to check out my own personal films by Googling Apartment 1014 Films. Thank you so much, and have a great night.